Hey guys, hello and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about some common blind spots that you get on self-improvement that you want to avoid. So, as I'm sure you know, or maybe you don't know, but basically when you're driving a car, right, you got your wing mirror on your right side, if from the UK, and basically on the wing mirror you got a little sort of bit that you can't quite see. So like if you check your wing mirror, there'll be nothing there, but there's a sort of a bike right in front of you that you're about to swerve into, right? So people always say check your blind spot when you're pulling out somewhere because you can't see it on the wing mirror. Anyway, that doesn't really matter, but to apply it to self-improvement, I think it's a similar thing, you know. In self-improvement, there's quite a specific image of what to do. There's quite a big wing mirror there of like what self-improvement looks like. And there's quite a lot of agreement about what it does look like. So you've got exercise, you know, usually going to the gym or something like that, something quite intense like that. You know, dancing well, studying hard, building a business, building some kind of high-level career, you know, meditating, you know, going on long walks, all these kind of things, reading, you know. There's a whole plethora of things that basically, if you just focus on any of them, that's kind of self-improvement, right? The problem is, I think there's a danger that you get some blind spots when it comes to self-improvement, which means that you neglect some things which aren't really to do with self-improvement, but are still extremely important, and you shouldn't neglect them just because you want to see progress in more typical measures of self-improvement. But just before I start that, I think one thing that is important to say with this is, and you really just consider, if you haven't considered this before, like what are you solving for? Like what are you doing every day to facilitate, to achieve? You know, are you in a job just because you're in it and you don't really know why? Or is it because it's going to lead you on to something you want to do in the future? You know, or you want to save some money so you can go traveling or invest in, you know, whatever it is. You know, are you going to the gym just because you feel like you should and it's a good habit? Or, you know, do you have some image, you want to get a certain amount of muscle mass, you know, you're training for an event, whatever it is. I think in all areas of life, wherever possible, you should try and have like a target for why you're doing something, you know. Really do it with intention. Life is all about sort of doing things with intention and purpose behind it. And to really look at the macro, why are you on self-improvement, you know? And it's a difficult question to answer, you know. I mean, most people would say, oh, I just want to live like a fantastic life. And that's you know, a good answer. Or you might say, I want to achieve lots of success. You might say, I want to be a sort of quote-unquote high-value man. You know, I want to attract lots of women. And the way to do this is really improve myself, you know. But I think a lot of people might not really have any idea at all why they're on self-improvement. They just kind of enjoy it. And it's really important to remember this because this is going to be relevant to the discussion that I have. But I think without that, you can just really go astray with self-improvement. You just think, this self-improvement's good, I'm just going to stay on it. And you sort of keep going on this journey of self-improvement, you know, but you don't really know why. You know, you just think, oh, it's good to do this stuff. And but the danger you get into is you start missing out on a lot of other things that are really important. So if you don't really know why you're on self-improvement, or you know, you don't really have a good aim in your life, I think the one that I've kind of come to the conclusion about is I want to live like a happy life. I do, you know, a life that's filled with purpose, you know, conquest, hard work, you know, where I reach my, you know, I fulfill my potential, you know, that has all these things, but fundamentally, I I do want to be happy in some sense, you know. Maybe not every day is like gloriously fun, you know. You know, I mean, we could have a whole other discussion about what it really means to be happy. But fundamentally, I do want to experience joy in life, you know. And sort of realising this has made me really see self-improvement with a different lens, because I can critique by my judgment, you know, what sort of life do I want to have? Do I want to have a really, you know, how does self-improvement get me the life that I want to have? And if it doesn't, don't do it, you know. So anyway, that's something really important to have in mind. Why are you doing this? Why are you on self-improvement in the first place? Don't lose sight of that. That's really important. And really, anything you do, just really try and scrutinise why you are doing it, you know, because this is really important. Okay, so the first thing that I think there's a real danger of a real blind spot in self-improvement is in social life. And this is no real surprise. This shouldn't be really a surprise to people. A lot of self-improvement is associated with detaching from your sort of friends who are so-called, you know, who are holding you back. You know, stopping going out drinking, partying, stopping, you know, going on monk mode, just sort of really focusing on yourself for a long period of time. This kind of stuff. This is really sort of associated with self-improvement, is this just kind of going out on your own for a bit. But I think this is a really bad idea, because I think you need people around you. And it's just easy to lose sight of how important that is. You know, even if you're not a very sociable person, it's funny, I just think a lot of people don't realise how much they gain from having a good community of people around them. Now, obviously, there's some kind of difference in definition here between just having a bunch of dickhead friends that you don't really like, and going out with them every weekend and doing shit, you know, just getting pissed and taking drugs or whatever. Obviously, that's not a very ideal scenario if that's your social life. But then there's a more holistic thing of really solid friends that care about you and want the best for you, and you're there for each other, and it's very deep friendship. You know, more like that. The problem is that a lot of people will get off that sort of first negative friendship that we talked about, but they won't replace it with anything. They'll just be a lone wolf, and it's not a very fun existence, guys. It's not a very fun existence. It's really rather depressing. And I just don't think there's enough, you know, you're improving, but again, here we go, what is your aim? You know, now there are some scenarios where just massively going out on yourself and not caring about anything else and just focusing on one thing for a while, for ages, is preferable. If you want a certain result, like you want to be, you know, really successful in a certain domain, you need to do that. If you want to be, you know, an athlete, you need to be quite antisocial, you know, or at least, you know, really focus on your sport, especially if it's a sort of individual thing like a martial arts or a, you know, gymnastics, something like that, something where you're not part of a team. Yeah, you need to go out on your own, otherwise you're just not going to make it. But unless you're in sort of a scenario like that, and like, don't get me wrong, guys, there will be scenarios where, you know, maybe I will need to sort of go out on my own. Let's say there's some projects I need to work on. You know, let's say one day I want to write a book, or I want to start a business, or, you know, there are moments for that. But unless you have a very clear goal in your life, or unless you're a very exceptional person who's just very introverted and just doesn't like people around them, I think it's a big mistake to discard friends outright. Now, what a lot of people say is, oh, I'm going to dump all my old friends, and then upgrade myself until I reach a level where the kind of friends I want will come into my life. But like, okay, fine, but you're going to be on that road for a long time. You know, because I thought this for a while as I sort of cut ties with a lot of older friends that I didn't really get on with anymore. I wasn't really doing as much. I was like, oh, it's okay. I'll sort of, once I level up myself enough, the right people will come along. It's such a stupid mentality. I really don't like it because it's just not really how it works, you know. And the point of a friendship is that you really are fostering something through someone, through good times and the bad times. Now, you know, obviously if someone's really dragging you down and you've tried to get through to them, you know, I'm not saying be sort of overly giving, you know, just sort of to the point where it's going to damage you. But that doesn't mean that you should just, friendship isn't like this big computer game where like whoever's on the highest level is the best, you know. Of course, there's a lot of that, you know, successful people will hang out in the same circles, you know, a lot of famous people know each other. You know, there is a lot of that, but the thing is, you need to, if you want good friends around you, you need to be practicing it all the time. You need to be making connections with people. Basically, you need to practice making connections rather than focusing on being the kind of good friends that you want to be. So that is, first one, is to just really focus on socialising. Obviously, don't let it weigh you down too much, you know. There's a lot of stuff that's associated with socialising that is bad, like, you know, doing a lot of bad habits, like drinking, like, you know, well, I guess drinking is the main one, but there are a lot of bad habits, but that doesn't mean that you throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. Okay, that's number one. And the second one is, it's quite similar, but it's girls. So there's a lot of the rhetoric of self-improvement at the moment is to not focus on relationships at all. Just focus on yourself and really upgrade your level until you get to a point where you can get the most attractive woman that you want, and then, you know, don't worry about trying too hard to get her, basically, 'cause she'll kind of come to you as you improve yourself, right? That's a very popular rhetoric, and there's a lot to it. The problem that I have with it is that there's a lot of the people who say that are themselves have gone through a phase of being able of having girlfriends, having lots of girlfriends, you know, being on a dating scene, having experienced that life, and then they've sort of given it up to pursue, you know, they want better things for themselves, and they think they can attract like a better girl than the ones they're attracting at the moment, and so they just completely focus on business, don't worry about anything else, or their self-development generally, and then the women will come. The problem I have with that is, and the reason I bring this up as an example is because I think a lot of people don't realise how big of a block that sort of getting onto that dating life is for so many people. You know, it might seem like a very big deal for most people, for some people, but a lot of people aren't really cashing in what they have already, you know. Now, they might not be able to attract, you know, their ideal woman of their dreams. Maybe that's not true. But I think a lot of people are just stuck on dating because they just can't seem to get anywhere with it. They can't seem to get a girlfriend in the first place, you know, let alone how, you know, whether it's the ideal partner or not. So, and that's because they haven't fostered the skills of dating. You know, it's still an important skill to have. Similar with friendship, you know. you can't just focus on your value as a man to take care of your attraction. You know, and same with, you can't just allow your value as a person to attract friends. You need to be able to be good at guessing it yourself. And the problem is that a lot of people who aren't very good with women, or maybe not good, they're bad with women, but they're not very good at dating. They don't seem to have like worked out how to sort of, maybe they've got sort of trust issues, maybe they're just, you know, or commitment issues or whatever it is, you know, or they're a bit shy or whatever, and they just haven't really worked out how to get on the dating scene, get on the dating market. They'll hear someone like Hamza or First Man or Tate, who are like really high level, you know, very attractive to lots of women, right? They'll hear them say that and they think, oh great, I don't need to bother. But the thing they miss out is these guys have had that natural, they haven't struggled to get themselves starting, you know, in the first place. They've all had dating lives before they've had the kind of growth period. And, you know, maybe you decide you need that growth period as well, you know, but you still need to get into the habit of dating. You want to get good at it to a degree. Now, again, don't let it fuck up the rest of your life, you know, don't let it be an enormous distraction from the things you want, but it is still an important thing you need to pay some attention to. And like, if you're like one of these guys who just struggle, you know, maybe, you know, dating life seems to be like a big problem in your life, don't think that you need to wait till 30 to be attracting the women that you want, or to start dating the women you want. Just, you can have that now, you know, but don't neglect it. Don't neglect it. So that's really important as well. So anyway, guys, those are the two blind spots that I think that it's dangerous for you to fall into if you get too distracted by the sort of aesthetic of self-improvement, the sort of tenets of self-improvement, and you don't think about the bigger picture of what your life is all about. So I hope that's something you can take away from this. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.